go. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Let's go. Upward Spiral Gang. We're back on YouTube. The only place to be, the only place to tap in, the only place to go live. Let's get it today. We're talking about a very important topic, which is manifesting with the Ikigai. All right. All right. Let's wait for a few more people to show up. All right. All right. Let's change the settings of this thing so you guys can comment live. All right, save. And let's see here. Okay. Sharing it on the Telegram group right now. All right, sweet. Okay. Okay. You know how rappers say that? Yeah. All right. We need some ad libs before this, huh? Skr skr. Back at it again with another video, man. Today we're talking all about manifesting using the concept of Ikigai. Now, I really want to bust a myth today with this Ikigai concept. And it's raining outside. Dang. So, what I wanted to speak about in regards to Ikigai is pretty simple, but I think it's going to help a lot of people to manifest easier. The number one thing with understanding Ikigai is it's not just a Venn diagram, okay? The person who popularized that Ikigai book has come up with the diagram. We understand, it's what you love, it's what the world needs. Let's actually pull up an image of that so we can show people. Okay. Because some of you might have no idea what I'm talking about. Right? Like this one. What you love, what you can be paid for, what the world needs, what you're good at, right? Your passion, your mission, your profession, your vocation. Now, this is a useful model, I'll tell you that, because a lot of people are starting from square zero. They're not even sure what their purpose is. And so I guess this can be a good map. However, if you notice this one, right? Ikigai is not this Venn diagram. Okay. This is not Ikigai. Okay. People have already pointed it out as Ikigai is what is makes your life worth living. So you create a meaning for your own life. It becomes valuable. It becomes something important for you. Okay. So it's similar to how the French would call it raison d'être, right? Your reason of being. Now, I'm a positive psychologist. I've had a whole entire class in a mastermind setting with other students talking about Ikigai and the concepts around it. But when we really break it down, it's such a concept that cannot even be translated, I believe. I think it goes way deeper into the Japanese thought because once they did interviews with people above 60 and they asked them, like, what is your top Ikigai? You know what they said, bro? They said hobbies. That's what they said. They said hobbies were the most important top Ikigai for people. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't it meant to be my life purpose? Like, isn't it meant to be this great overarching thing? Right. But actually, it has more to do with how you're functioning day to day. It has more to do with the small things and the small decisions that you make. And I think this is where we can bridge the gap from Ikigai and manifestation. You're doing Ikigai all the time, you are manifesting all the time. Okay. So there's not a second where you're not manifesting. So you got to understand how to step into that role that you really want to be in, play, and completely immerse yourself into it. Okay. So you want it to be plausible when you manifest, correct? You want it to be something believable, something that is in your own frame of reference. It feels normalized to you, it feels neutral to you. It's not out of the ordinary, right? It's not a daydream, it's not fantastical. It can create feelings of excitement. Salute, brother. However, we have to go to the wish fulfilled and we have to actually go past that, right? We cannot just stop it at the wish fulfilled. So when we talk about having zero doubt and being a match towards our frequencies, you know, what really sucks about the law of attraction is, like, let's say somebody's been through trauma, they're vibrating at that level of trauma to create more trauma in their lives, right? Instead of what, understanding that they can empty the cup and actually enter Shoshin, which is another Japanese concept, beginner's mind, in order to actually start to manifest, right? So you must become a match for it to show up to that vibration. Okay. So you think yourself as almost like you're tapping into these radio frequencies of what you truly actually prefer, right? So thoughts attract more thoughts, right? I think it's like 16 or 18 seconds where it takes a thought to stack into another thought, right? And so we're helping source integrate more of the unconscious, the collective unconscious. That's what we're actually doing with manifestation. If we're looking at the bigger picture, okay, is we're thinking together, which is creating a mirror-like appearance for this hologram, the simulated reality that we're seeing in front of our eyes, okay? But it starts from the internal vision. So let's say you were like, I want to drive a Camaro, right? You don't imagine yourself at the DMV learning how to drive. You don't imagine yourself like getting and buying the car from the lot. You don't even imagine all that. You imagine yourself, right, in the visualization, you at a gas station randomly, right, with that car. Let's say it's like a Chevrolet, right? Chevy. I love Chevys, man. Camaros too. Let's say it's a Chevy in a random driveway, right? You're just parked at your friend's house. Now you see, like, you add these little seemingly insignificant details, right? Like you went to this one Japanese restaurant, right? You went to this one pad thai place with your car parked outside the venue, right? You randomly, you know, you see like someone coming up to you and trying to click a selfie with it, right? Like these little moments are so key, and they're the small moments of Ikigai that we learn is so important, right? So for adults, grown adults, Japanese men and women in the 60 plus, to say that my Ikigai is nothing as the third most one is really sad, right? Because yes, they said hobbies, they said, you know, their family, they said, I'm trying to think of some other ones that they said in this actual study. I think they also said something about food and eating that was like lower down on the list, but a lot of people just live to eat, you know? Do you eat to live or do you live to eat? You know? And do you use food to endure things, right? To endure certain heavy emotions you eat, to process it. I notice myself doing that. I don't know about some of you, right? I eat when I feel like I need to digest something heavy, right? To ground myself into a physical reality. So it's really interesting how we are the character that is carving this path of manifestation in front of our eyes, right? Because you can't be vibrating at the frequency of a question to solve the answer. You actually have to be in the frequency of knowingness, or even just telling yourself, what might it feel like to know what I want? Or if you don't know what you want, what might it feel like to know what my purpose is? Right? What might it feel like to know my Ikigai? You know, my reason of being, my life that is worth living, my eudaimonic fulfillment. They have this word in Greek called eudaimonia. I have a tattoo right across my, right here. Eudaimonia. Okay. A lot of women look at them. They're like, what is that? Like, what do you have written over there? Right. And then they try to read it out. But like in Greek, sometimes the letters are backwards, just like eudaimonia, right? So it's like sometimes uh the letters are flipped or whatever. But anyway, eudaimonia means flourishing. I learned it very early on in my master's program, right? This word. It's very powerful. Eudaimonia is a word which means ultimately fulfillment and flourishing. It's the good life, right? Let's actually look up the good life. Um, I believe there's a list of, hold on. Okay. Let's just pull up some word alchemy for you. Right. It comes from daimon, or the word spirit, right? Now, a lot of people use this word to mean demon. No, it's your inner divinity, right? The word demon has been demonized, let's just say. It comes from the word daimon, okay? So first of all, it's your good spirit within you. It's morally good, right? EU, okay? Shout out Europe, okay? Doing good, morally good. Daimon is guiding spirit, divinity within. It's Dabe, okay? But instead, it's your little spirit guide, right? It's your helper. It's your own higher self, whatever, right? Your deep state or your lasting condition, okay? Okay, so Aristotle had an idea called arete. Let's check this out. They're saying stoicism purposes, that the happy stoic, the eudaimonic feeling purpose, and then the hedonia just feeling good, right? So you have the sweet life of Zach and Cody, and you have the fulfilled life, which is like, oh man, I'm embellished in my experiences, man. Like I've gotten it. I've been up the mountains. I've traveled the world. I've done it all. I've foraged the fountains of youth. I have gone through the treacherous forests of Nadir and come back with the elixir of life, right? That is a fulfilled life. But then you have the dry life, which is like, you know, you have a purpose, but it doesn't feel good, bro. Right? Or you're just feeling good without any purpose, right? Or you're not feeling good and you have no purpose. Then you're empty. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I truly believe that this is such an important aspect, man, because it's one of the keys, at least, that we have to looking at this thing. Okay. These virtues are formed in man by doing the actions. The good of man is a working of the soul in the way of excellence in a complete life. Okay. Aristotelian ethics. He spoke a lot about virtue and this kind of thing. Is there like a list of let's try this. There's the PERMA model that Seligman obviously came up with. However, let's look at this. So positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning, accomplishment. That's another theory of meaning, creating long-lasting happiness. So good life, meaningful life, and pleasant life, they're saying in this one, creates happiness. Everybody's coming up with their own formulas here, right, guys? So what does it mean to you to live a good life? Right? I think that's for you to decide, but I think you also know your limit, right? You know what you can tolerate and you know what you can't, right? There's certain things in your life that you feel like I have a handle on this, like I'm good at this. And there are other things where you're like a little bit vulnerable with, right? You're like, okay, I need to get used to this, or this seems out of my comfort zone, but it reaches my stretch zone. So I'm going to do it anyway, because I would rather lean into my potential. And man, I'm able to talk like this because I also heard Mercury frequency like a few nights ago. And I've been understanding that Mercury is going to retrograde on the 4th. So I've been repping it to bypass any of that energetic feeling of like stumbling over my words. We've all been doing it, like blah, 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 Freudian slip, but it's like it's the new timeline coming through. It's that Leo sun energy, of the Leo energy coming through right now. And yeah, the solar logos is feeling very powerful, it's feeling very strong, at least within my system. um it seems really strong. Okay, so let's see here. Where can I find this list? Is this it? Purpose, self-acceptance, environmental mastery. Nope. Hmm. The list. I swear I learned this somewhere. I don't know where the reference point is of it. Okay, let's go to positivepsychology.com. Okay, maybe we can find it here. What is a good life according to Plato? Let's see. All right, let me share the screen. Okay. So it says here, what is the good life? Material comfort, well-being, engagement in meaningful activities and work, loving relationships, belonging to a community. Right? And I like the word that they use domains here, because really these are different domains that you have to master, right? You might be very good in your, let's say, material comfort, but you have a hard time having, loving relationships. Maybe you have great loving relationships, but you have a difficulty staying engaged in meaningful activities. Okay. So it's about mastering these different domains. Now, let's see what Socrates says. Interestingly, Socrates never wrote anything down. Damn, bro. Okay, freestyle rapper. Key to Socrates' definition of the good life was that the unexamined life is not worth living. We've heard that quote way too many times, huh? The unexamined life is not worth living, right? So when you have an examination, I'm like, bring it on. Okay, it's test day. Let's go. Okay, I'm ready to be challenged. Let's lean into the storm instead of running from it. I've ran from it my entire life. Now it's time to face the thunder. Thunder, thunder, thunder. Okay. So Socrates argued that a person who lives a routine, mundane life is going to work and enjoying their leisure without reflecting on their values or life purpose, had a life that wasn't worth living. Okay, so you have to reflect, is what he's saying. So to live a good life, you have to actually reflect on your life. Otherwise, you're gonna miss it, bro. You're gonna miss enjoying the movie, right? You're gonna miss actually enjoying the movie. Don't miss out on the movie, right? All right. So I might have to get going in like maybe like 5 minutes or so. But anyway, let's wrap this up. So Plato's view of the good life was presented in the Republic. Okay. The role of philosophy is essential because philosophers are educated in reason to subdue their animal passions. This creates noble individuals who contribute to a well-ordered and humane society. A person who is unable to regulate their behavior will be unable and unstable and create suffering for themselves and others. Hmm. So they talk a lot about ethics and, ways to minimize human suffering through virtuous conduct, right? Then, of course, we had eudaimonia, which we talked about. Legislators should create laws that aim to improve individual character. Yeah, from vicious to virtuous. I truly believe that. That's an old way of thinking about things. Then we have Kant's argument. Okay, a capacity for virtue is unique to human beings. This is the thing about philosophizing, man. Everybody has their own way, eudaimonia and flow, said Seligman, meaning and positive emotions. Okay. Set point theory, you have a subjective well-being spot. Hedonic treadmill is like you're just chasing and chasing and you're never fully filled. Okay. You tend to see the glass is half empty rather than half full. Don't be discouraged because recent research says that we have a happiness set point. While we each have a happiness set point, we can also cultivate greater happiness. So actually what our happiness set point actually is, guys, is 50% genetic. So that's outside of our control, right? It's 40% within our control, and then it's 10% like life circumstances or different things that happen to you. Okay. So if you're thinking about really manifesting using happiness, using Ikigai, feeling positive states, then you have to do what one of my old law of attraction coaches said, which is celebrate every outcome, especially the negative ones, right? And it's quite difficult to pull your mind to celebrate something that isn't celebratory in its nature. Like you don't organically celebrate the negative things in your life, but maybe you should, right? Or you could, or there's a possibility to, or you get to, right? So it's important for you to understand that to live the good life, yes, you can have, valued goals for yourself. You can, ensure that you have good friendships and all this. But I think it's also the idea of what Ryan G talked about in the podcast, which is adventure. I think we're honestly lacking that adventurous quality that we used to have to just explore, that explorer consciousness. As we become more introverted, we want to explore, but in our internal worlds. We only want to do it in our internal worlds to feel comfortable enough. But then there's also an explorer archetype that's like, let me look outside of me for the exploratory nature, because all I'm looking at, maybe even in my environment, is something that I've perpetuated there, right? Through my own thinking about it or some belief around it, right? It's keeping me there or magnetizing those energies towards me, right? So it's all about this creating this like inner magnetism that you have within you. And the way you make the magnet stronger is through your own polarity of being your greatest self and understanding that the realist version of you doesn't need to pretend, doesn't need to put on a mask, doesn't need a persona, doesn't need some kind of a, fixture or like manufacturing authenticity, which is used a lot in marketing and so forth, rather than actually being authentic and speaking your truth. So I think that there's way too many loopholes and techniques and all this stuff around law of attraction and not enough action where you're actually embodying feeling that way. Like, man, imagine you had like your phone blown up with people's messages, right? You would actually, at one level, you would feel an annoyance, right? You'd kind of be like, these are quality level problems, but it's kind of annoying though, you know? So at one level, if that annoys you, then when you get that reality, it will also annoy you. So you have to break the pattern of that. Like it doesn't take struggle to get to the destination, because that implies that more struggle is required to sustain it. And if you understand that dynamic, like, okay, the road towards enlightenment is to be enlightened and like stay there, don't sway, you know, and again, some people can say awakening is different from enlightenment. Let's not add more loopholes in the mix, right? Let's not kind of put one. Let's not have this Russian doll effect where we have like one thing over another thing over another thing, and then there's levels and hierarchies to this thing. Let's be conscious individuals. Let's wire in. Let's tap in. Let's evolve and just tap into that cosmic oneness so that we can dance and move through the sine wave of the universe and the Tao, right? And tap into that spawn, though, as we say, that cosmic dance of Shiva Shakti, Bao Wowing in the universe, right? So if we understand that energy and we actually facilitate it, like there is this movement, this energy of like the zodiac goes like this, and then the second part of the zodiac goes like this, right? And the seasons shift like this, and then it goes like this, right? So it's always this wave motion. And if you can understand the seasonal shifts and the seasonal change and be able to ground and wave and surf the waves of life, you will be a land swimmer, as I like to call it. You will be the Olympic level swimming athlete, but on land. You'll be able to weave and move through the world like you are underwater, because if you're underwater, your movements are automatically slower. So the time delay that you have in the physical world is going to create almost like a harmonic resonance right? Yeah, absolutely. So me and Mathis, we had a conversation yesterday all about the stuff, Ikigai, you know, yeah, a lot of deep stuff for to prep for his channeling on the 8th Lionsgate portal. If you guys are interested in catching that, you got to join the Adepts program. However, you can yeah, you can just ask me about it, shoot me a message. Maybe he'll be happy enough to share the recording with certain people, but that's completely up to him. Now, if we understand that we can integrate more of our unconscious mind together, right? We can actually help ourselves to create a bridge between the subconscious and conscious worlds and to create further success, right? We actually have to be like playfully like kids again, right? Imagining so much that it's just we're in complete awe of the manifestation itself. You know, at we're not just at the cause, we're at the effect, we're at the everything of it. You know, it's like there's a certain cause that you want in the world. And so we place a deity, an entity, a thought form, an egregore that already has that. And then we tune into the radio station by maybe creating a symbol around it or having that image on our phones or, having some semblance of materializing it. So really, if you understand this process, you're like, hey, I want more love. I'm going to take Kamadeva's energy. I'm going to tune into it so that I wire into his radio station. And once I'm in his radio station, I mean, I've been rapping to these mantras, right? It's epic. And it's been challenging because it's like I have to find the flow and maybe I have to speed the mantra up or I have to like, figure out ways to do it to keep it lit and organic at the same time. I don't want to facilitate it too much. I want it to flow, you know? So I think it's really important to start at the vibration of the answer already having been answered. Like go into the knowingness of what your purpose and meaning of life is. Even if you don't know what it is, ask yourself, what would it feel like to know what it is, to know what my purpose is, to know I'm here for a bigger reason? How would I hold myself different? What would I do? Right. And then you lean into that. You lean into that. And it's this constant edge refinement, right? It's this constant like being able to merge with that sensibility. Like in Vajrayana, we have this concept called divine pride, where you become one with the deity. You and the deity are not separate anymore. So you become them, right? At a certain point where your ego starts to merge with that. Now, this is very similar to channeling, and I've been able to use this deity yoga for our specific channeling tech. And I learned this from my father, of course. He teaches this stuff. Um, but it's very interesting because if you become the deity, you also understand that you are emptiness, right? Because from the emptiness, like emptiness is form, form is emptiness, right? And so you're creating a form out of the formless, is what you're doing when you're manifesting. So, Elizabeth Gilbert has this idea of big magic, it's all floating around. But if these ideas are floating around, you better catch them and put them to good use. Otherwise, someone else is going to steal your idea that's floating around in the ether. You're going to see it the next week and be like, bro, I just thought of that last week. No, someone else caught on that stream a lot faster than you, right? They were able to tap into that frequency and resonate better than you in that frequency. So they got it before you. Well, this is why you got to act, man. You got to have that implementation velocity and just move into the ideas that you truly double down on and you believe in. So you latch onto it, not in a clingy way, not like I'm going to trap there's this Disney movie that I was watching, right? The other day, which is called Wish or whatever. And the sorcerer like hoards all of these wishes. Spoiler alert, whatever, right? He hoards all of these wishes of the townspeople of Rosa or whatever. And he only cherry picks certain ones that get healed or whatever, like every month or whatever. So I was thinking about that. Like, what if people are hoarding your wishes? What if somebody is like actually holding onto your manifestations like that, like a sorcerer, right? And you're not even allowed to tap into that desire. It's like once you have that desire, that passion burning in your heart, you're already going to move towards it, right? But people think it's too hard, it's too far away, it's not Like, I'm not there yet, you know? And they create all these barriers and these blockades to think that change takes a really long time. And then culture perpetuates that thought of change takes a really long time, and then we don't change fast, right? But I'm saying break that paradigm and change fast, bro. Convince yourself change is fast and easy. Okay, let's get it. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. It's 224. You already know what it is. Let's win. It's neutral or win.